So many people know that I absolutely adore Mojo. I always have. But how does this guy do Unduped? Alright, what is going on, my dude? So we are back here today with some more of this new series that I've been doing, and this one is going to be focused on Mojo. Now, Mojo is a very great champion, he's very underrated, and he is a champion who typically is known to really want his sig ability. However, much like, the champs we've done in the past, right? Like, for example, we did Guardian, who does not need to be duped for his damage, right? But he still has a lot of his, but he basically gets his utility. Mojo is opposite. He has his utility, but he's missing his damage. Now, is this utility worth it unduped to warrant a rank up? So as you can see, the way that Mojo essentially ramps up here, once you have his sig ability, is that he gets this massive fury when he reaches 5 million followers, okay? And at sig 200, it gives you plus 6,000 attack, which is pretty decent. At sig 1, plus 3,000 attack, which is also pretty decent. So it also allows you to ramp up faster in each fight. You start with one charge, and by you win 4 fights, then you're pretty much starting ramped up, right? So he is kind of a ramp up champion. However, he doesn't need to be ramped up, right, in order to have his utility. So Mojo can do a lot of things. He pretty much reduces the duration of all active buffs by 90% if you synergize him with OG Ghost Rider and also Black Widow Clairvoyant, the trio that I dubbed way back when, the buff bounty hunter trinity. Then essentially it turns into minus 120% buff duration, and it's just no buffs. So if you can keep the anti-life field up, you will not be seeing any active buffs on the opponent, as long as they are time buffs, which is great utility, man. He basically turns those buffs into degen, which I love. Now, I want to take a look at the attack rating difference between the 5-star and the 6-star, between duped and unduped. So over here, we have the 6-star rank 3 unduped Mojo. As you can see, his attack rating right above my head is 3,023. Okay, if we jump over here to the 5-star rank 5, it's only 2,346. However, his sig ability gives him plus 4,692 attack. So that essentially turns into, let's just say, 7,000 attack, right? Now keep in mind, a sig 200 Mojo at rank 3 is pretty much going to have the potential to have about plus 9,000 attack. So obviously, no doubt about it, a sigged up rank 3 Mojo is going to blow the 5-star out of the water. There's not even a shadow of a doubt that this guy's going to be hitting really hard once he's ramped up at sig 200. That's a big attack increase. Plus 9,000, attack rating is big. But, we did the Void video where it was like, the 5-star Void has, more attack and Fear of the Void active. But Mojo also has a decent amount of passive damage in his kit. Right here, anytime a buff is nullified or expires of the opponent, Mojo passively degens them for 2,300 damage over 6 seconds. The 5-star over here, 1,800 damage over 6 seconds. Now, depending on the matchup that you're in, I wonder if the rank 3 is going to be able to keep up with the 5-star sig 200. And I'm actually very interested to find out today. So, without further ado, let's start jumping into some content today. So this is the team I was talking about, when the buff bounty hunter trinity, as I called it, because of this synergy right here. All champions reduce the duration of opponent's buffs by 30%. You also have plus 10% against villains. Mojo has some other decent synergies as well. Over here, this is good. 50% chance not lose followers and failing a prompt. Not bad. This one is also decent. You steal some of their power when they complete a prompt. This one is definitely good for, some more damage. We can throw a MODOK on the team. And then over here, when a prompt is completed, Mojo gains an unstoppable buff for 5 seconds. That's also decent. It also makes Korg really, really good. So we could throw it on the team. Sure. I mean, why the heck not, right? So let's start jumping in, man. Alright, man, so I initially went in here and I did this part live on video, and I made the rest of the video, and then I was going along. I was like, almost every fight I was like, you see, Winter Soldier is not the best place to showcase Mojo, and it's just so we're gonna just talk about him a bit here. We're not even gonna look at the whole fight. We're gonna be talking about what he can do and what's so good about his sig ability and why it might be important for you. So if you don't know how Mojo works, essentially he reduces all of the buff duration by 90%. If you synergize him out, minus 120%, can completely negate all active buffs. Really, really great. He can nullify on his special 1. His special 2, his special 3 do some really big boy degens based on the amount of followers that you have, up to 5. Really good stuff. Now, the Sig ability, it allows you to ramp up faster in the first initial fight, also going further. Now, if you go through 4 fights with Mojo, he pretty much starts ramp for the rest of the quest. Really, really powerful, and it's very, very, very strong Fury. It's really good stuff. Now, he has literally all of his utility unduped, 100% of it. 100% of his utility. He is only missing that massive Fury. And you're going to see right here that this is about where Mojo would start being ramped up. Actually, he would have already been ramped up because you start with 1 follower. But as you can see, right, the damage is like semi-decent. The degen damage is like semi-decent. We're going to go for a special 3 here. We're going for the special 3. Special 3, special 2, very, very similar, right? Special 3 is more suicide friendly. Special 2, spam it all day, every day. If you're not running suicides, he also has some decent regen, especially as you get lower in health too. So feel free to do that even if you run suicides with him. Okay, but as you can see, the degen is kind of nice. However, it would be so much nicer if there was a nice Fury on him. So all of the utility is there. This video is going to be mostly focused on his utility. I just want to showcase the damage that he can do compared to the damage that a 5-star Sig 200 can do. As you can see, starting out, okay, the damage on the 6-star is just much, much, much better. But as you go along, you ramp up faster, and by the time you are all the way ramped up, right here, we have that Fury buff. As you can see, our basic hits start hitting harder than the unduped 6-star. And then when you go for the degen is much stronger. So we're about to activate the anti-life field once again right here. And as you can see, the degen is amplified by the Fury. And that Fury is just there whenever the anti-life field is active on Mojo. So we're going to go for a special 2 here in just 1 second. And now just check the degen that's going to be ticking Winter Soldier down. It's going to be ticking mighty, mighty hard. So what you're missing out on with Mojo when he's unduped is essentially more damage. All of your utility is there. If you want him for his utility, you will have that unduped, but you're missing out on a crap ton of damage. So it's up to you to decide what, is important to you. If you're all about the damage, man, then you're not going to want to be looking at Mojo Unduped. But if you just care about the amazing buff cancellation utility this guy has, then you might want to watch some of the rest of the video, all right? So, with all that being said, like I said, Winter Soldier is a good test dummy to test out damage. As you can see, very potent Fury. It's very good, right? But let's start looking into some more utility things with this guy, all right? Alright, so now when I say that he removes buffs on the opponent, right? Like when he reduces the duration of buffs, that includes all buffs. For example, right here, Footloose. When the opponent activates a special attack here, it is essentially going to put an unstoppable and an evade buff on them for however many seconds that it does. So, when Medusa throws her special attack right here, come on, see that? No buffs. Now, when Medusa goes to get her 3rd Fury buff, which I guess she can't get because we keep getting rid of the 2nd one. Just block a hit. See, we just missed it. But Black Widow Clairvoyant and also, what's his face, Ghost Rider is going a long way in reducing that anyway. Now we have to block a hit. And now, Living Strands will go away in a second. There we go. Can we bait a special attack? I guess we can. And a buff, we did it. Can we bait a special? Yep. So as you can see, it triggered one time, the unstoppable and the evade. But this fight was pretty much in control the entire time, and he looked pretty good doing it. Now, his Sig ability comes into play when he reaches 5 of his followers, right? I'd have to go back and watch the footage. I wasn't paying 100% attention while doing it. I was focusing on the fight, but I think he hit that around like at the 40% health mark for Medusa. So at that point, he would have nuked her with the degen and like a special 2. But without the Sig ability, he did pretty well, and he handled that fight the way he was supposed to, and he had all of his utility, and he just kind of did a good job. So let's go take a look at some more places where Mojo is going to be, you know, a place where you want to use him. You know, showing him his damage up against Winter Soldier at the end of the day, it's kind of useless. It's just, this is what the damage that he does. That's it. But his damage comes from degen at the end of the day. So we were nullifying buffs left and right off of Medusa. Fury buffs, Unstoppable, Evade, and also the hater buffs that we place on her. That is where we're getting a lot of the damage from. So as you can see, it's pretty decent, right? So let's go see some more places where that degen damage is going to be pretty decent. Now, a place that Mojo is going to excel very highly is against Cosmic Champions with lots of buffs. Now, this is just, you know, combo party, counter tactics, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, you know, we're going to get a cruelty buff here. That's it. But this is basically just like a Groot. Now, as you know, Groot has all those timed buffs that come whenever he feels like gaining them, essentially. So what you want to do is just keep your anti-life field active and look at all of the degen going on Groot. 16, 15. I mean, whoa, dude. I always loved Mojo for Groot. I always thought he was super cool in this matchup. And again, it's happening. Block a hit, okay? So these are the places where you want to use Mojo, and these are kind of the places where it's not really gonna matter if he's duped or not. If you have a lot of matchups like this, if there are a lot of buffs, that was really freaking cool, man. Now, Groot, of course, is one of his best matchups, no doubt about it. There are just so many buffs. But even against, like, Venom, for example, he has a lot going on here against Venom, and we'll check it out for sure. So, Venom, his little Clintar buff, that goes away as well. Watch, I'll just show you. Now, Venom is an interesting one, right? Because he doesn't have active buffs, but watch this. Watch what happens. Well, I don't know where it went, but the Clintar buff should have been there. It looks like it disappeared. But basically, you see that degen that just procced up? That was a Clintar buff trying to come back. Now, another thing that I don't think I've mentioned about Mojo yet is that his special one also nullifies one buff. And that pretty much turns into degen damage. And then you regenerate some missing health. So while he normally excels more in fights where there are timed buffs, he's also certainly decent in those matchups where there are you know, permanent buffs to take advantage of with the special one as well. Come on, buddy, throw a special. Come on, buddy. Now, as you could see, when you fail a prompt, you fall all the way back down. All the way back down to just one thumbs up there, right? Underneath his name. When you're duped, based on your persistent charges, you won't fall below that number. So, that's another very big advantage to having the dupe. But as you can see, he still has the utility of, like, you know, nullifying buffs on the special one, pretty much limiting active buffs, right? Timed buffs. When his anti-life field is active, and just being able to deal with buffs in that way. So that's definitely a very, very big piece of utility in Mojo's kit that I've always enjoyed quite a bit. And he doesn't need to be duped for that, but of course, man, the damage is just so much larger if you are. The Groot matchup, the Sig never really came into play. The Venom matchup definitely did. Okay, so I think another cool, right, interaction that we could show off here is against, like, for example, Juggernaut, right? Juggernaut, Unstoppable Colossus, you know, champions who, like, get that unstoppable mechanic on their special attacks, right? Now, this guy has unblockable special attacks, all this other stuff, right? Now, if Mojo could start with his anti-life field active, that would make him so much better for stuff like this, okay? But unfortunately, there's no synergy that exists yet. Okay, throw a special. See? No unstoppable whatsoever. Again, no unstoppable whatsoever. And we're going to go for this. And now actually, if he went for a special attack with the special attack prompt, he would have removed his own unstoppable buff. Come on, man, throw it. And again, no unstoppable buff. So, you know, this has always been a nice piece of utility that I've really appreciated on Mojo. And unfortunately, man, like I said, his damage it's decent. It's like definitely not like atrocious damage by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not like amazing damage. And right here in this fight, right? That's where we would have gotten our Fury buff. Now, keep in mind, you get more degens, right? Whether you're duped or not, the more thumbs up you have. No doubt about it. So this is going to put a lot on right here. And that's going to take him down to nothing. Great. And that's going to be it. So, duped or not, he handles a fight like Juggernaut really well. But if he was duped, the damage would have been much better. The damage was decent. The damage is like decent there. You know, it's quite certainly not astounding, amazing damage. But the Fury really puts in a lot of work. But what's so great about Mojo is that he has his utility. He's just missing the damage. Even at like Sig 20, he'll have like 3,400 attack, which is good, which is be really good and be very, very noticeable. When you get to Sig 200 and you have that Fury buff, it'll be extremely, incredibly noticeable to a very high degree. But as you can see, all of his utility for the fights where you actually want to use this guy, it's kind of there already. So it's kind of debatable. Now, there are lots of people as well, an equal number of people, if not more people, who care more about the damage. You say, yeah, but I can do better damage with this Mystic Champion and do the same thing. And that's a very valid comment. It's a very valid feeling as well. Where you might not want to rank up Mojo Unduped just for the utility, because you probably already have that covered. Personally, I love Mojo so much, but I don't think I would rank him up Unduped because I can already do what he does with other champions and do it faster and have more damage. Now, if I duped Mojo, I think I definitely would rank him up. But when it comes to Unduped, he can definitely do fights he's supposed to do. No doubt about it. But he is missing that damage. Let's look into a little bit more of this guy. All right, so I think that this will be a fun one all around for a lot of different reasons. There are some matchups in this game that are just really fun to do, right? For example, Mojo versus Groot was really fun. Lots of degen buffs, right? Now, Howard the Duck gains timed Furies when he's stunned. So, before we watch the fight, before we do the fight, take a guess as to what's going to happen with this guy, right? With all those Fury buffs. Now, on top of that, there's also, it's just like it was meant to be. Can't stop, won't stop here. So I need to have an unstoppable buff on. Well, Korg gives it to us. So all around, it's just going to be fun. Also, look at this. Fight or flight. Every 12 seconds, the defender gains an unstoppable buff for 4 seconds. So we can get rid of that too. So it's just all around. This is just like Mojo City, dude. Duped or unduped. Let's see. Let's see what he does. I haven't tried the fight yet, but I can only imagine it's going to be fun. All right. So we're going to fight this guy kind of like normal. Let him build up his Furies. All right. And now, when he gains new Furies, because it has to be new buffs, why is he not gaining Furies when he's stunned? Come on, Howard, gain those Furies, dude. Or are they just going away? Are they just instantly going away? Because that's even better than I thought it was going to be. All right, let's see. Oh, they're just going away. They're just, oh, yes, there's no chance. Oh my god, it's actually better than I thought it was. I was like, why isn't he getting degen? But he's like, why aren't the Furies, you know, they're just going away. They're just gone. He has no chance. This duck has absolutely no chance at all. This poor duck. Look at the degen counter, just goes up by just blocking. That's it. This poor little duck. And all we have to do is parry a few times. Use a special attack. Okay. Use a special one. And yeah, he's just done. Now, obviously, Mojo handled that fight really well. You don't have to worry about like the unstoppable on the opponent because it's going to pretty much either go on you or just be gone with the anti-life field, right? So I think over here is another decent place to show him off as well. We can look at just X23 in general, right? It has those regen buffs all the time. There's also Lionheart and Arc Overload. So Arc Overload every couple seconds, every 20 seconds, I think it is, she's going to be gaining buffs, right? So let's see if we can control that. You basically just want to kind of play aggressive here. Say charge or heavy attack. We can totally do that. Boom. There we go. And now, it's interesting because usually the name of the game with Mojo is you want to be very aggressive, right? And then build up to your 5 right away. That way you can get your Fury. However, when you're unduped, no Fury. But even unduped here, it seems as if he's doing some pretty decent stuff. Now also you can influence, the pause of the anti-life field right there. Did you see how I paused the life field specifically with my special one? That way I can get the Arc Overload to trigger while I had the anti-life field active. Now, look at this, okay? I have 4 followers right now. I need 5. I need 5 of them. So right here, this is where I would get my Fury. So I think that the special 2 beam would have killed her if I had the Fury, instead of the degen 2 seconds after. I do think, however, you do start with 1 more follower. So to be fair, he would have gotten it earlier. So now let's say you're interested in ranking up Mojo and you have a 5-star decent Sig Mojo and a bunch of 5-star or Sigs, and you have a 6-star unduped Mojo and a tier 5 class Catalyst, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, so in the matchups like Groot, where he can just completely shred the opponent, it literally doesn't matter, literally doesn't matter if he's duped or not. But what about an everyday scenario? What about a Cav event quest or another side quest where they have about 200,000 health, and how is he going to do in these generic matchups where they might have a couple of buffs to take advantage of? Well, why don't we take a look here, and we'll do a side-by-side. We have the 5-star Sig 200 and the 6-star rank 3 against Deadpool in 6.4.1. Pretty generic fight. He has the regen buff towards the end, right? So let's go ahead and let's just see how they do side by side, okay? We'll start them at the same time about here. Now keep in mind, the 5-star duped Mojo starts with 1 follower, all right? The unduped 6-star rank 3 starts with absolutely nothing. So right away, you're going to notice in the beginning, the rank 3 is going to have the clear advantage right away because the 5-star doesn't have the Fury buff yet. There's nothing that's going to give the 5-star the advantage except for a little bit more offensive combat power rate, which at the end of the day, believe it or not, actually doesn't help Mojo in the beginning because you'll see that I have to actually throw a special attack to make sure I don't get pushed to a special 3 in the beginning. So at this point, right, I have to dodge a hit or dash back with the 5-star, and the 6-star is way ahead in damage, right? But now at this point, check it out, I'm about to get my 5th follower here, and now the 5-star is pretty much ramped up, so let's see if he can start making a comeback now, and that's a pretty beefy special too. And now one thing you'll notice that when it comes to even basic hits, we are going to be pretty much out damaging the 6-star rank 3 because our attack rating is just higher, and that's just the way it works mathematically, right? But look at this now. The 6-star rank 3 unduped wasn't too far behind. Now, as the quest goes on, okay, that was a bad ending for the rank 3 for sure, but we were pretty much there neck and neck, right? Now, here's the thing, okay? As this, casual quest goes on, the ramp up required for the duped Mojo is going to be less and less and less, and it's going to get to the point where you go into a fight, you complete your first prompt, and you got your Fury buff. So, for a lane where you want to be using Mojo multiple times in a row, there is no doubt about it, a 5-star duped Mojo is probably going to be more beneficial than an unduped 6-star Mojo, and that's just kind of the way it is. If you're using the guy for 1 or 2 fights, the sixth, then the unduped one is probably going to be fine. But I wouldn't consider this guy a lane clearer until he is duped. And once he is duped, man, a ramped up Mojo is going to be plowing things down. He just is. So, you know, would I rank up an unduped Mojo? Probably not, especially when I have a duped one. He has all of his utility unduped, but he's just so much better duped. That's just kind of the way it is. It's kind of, I feel like the same way as low sig void. Yeah, he can do it. I just don't know if it's a great investment currently. If you really love Mojo, man, I could definitely see it being worth putting a Mystic Gem into him and Mystic Stones to make him better, no doubt about it. But just currently, unduped, I don't know if I could recommend, you know, ranking up the 6-star unduped. Oh my god, this is just... There we go. There we go. So yeah, as you can see, the 5-star duped Mojo he just did better in the same fight, in the same scenario, with the same playstyle. He just did better. And as the quest goes on, he's gonna keep doing better. And you know, the thing is, like I said, there's not much of a difference between the duped 5-star and the unduped 6-star when it comes to those matchups like Groot, right? And Howard the Duck and stuff like that. So I think it's better to have the overall stronger Mojo. However, if you want to invest in a champion for the future, then you can go with the unduped Mojo. I think you will be okay if you want to rank up one of them. And then in the future, you get him duped, you put a gem into him, and you commit to him in the future. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's totally up to you. I'm just letting you know, like, personally, I don't think I would rank an unduped Mojo, but that's totally up to you. Because it's not just 5 or 6-star. If you have an unduped 5-star Mojo as well, this is, you know, this is the difference of what the SIG does, man. There's some good stuff. So let's put the footage together. You get to watch it and make your own opinion. That's the whole point of these. I'll happily give you my opinion, which I just did. But you got to make your own. That's very important. All right. Anyway, my dudes, that's going to be it for this one. Mojo is a really great champion. He is very underrated, in my opinion, and he can do a lot of things really, really well. He benefits very highly from a SIG ability and very highly from a decently high SIG. I think he's a very good champion to put a gem into and a good champion to put SIG stones into as well, whether it's a 5-star or a 6-star. He also has massive defensive capability. He has decent prestige, I believe, and also he's probably going to be a good rank up for that solo competitive mode if you care about that in any way, shape, or form. All right. That's it for this one. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big ol' like. Comment what you think about Mojo in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos just like this coming to you in the future. I'll be seeing you around.